Slight adjustment in our program. It is actually coming to an end pretty soon. I wanted to ask Ms. Fardous Haji, who actually looks like came from all the way from California. She will have to honor the time. You saw earlier, she's a Somali. You're going to have to honor the time. You have 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
I want to make sure.
There you go.
I came in from a long way, so I'll make my ticket worth talking. So this is a really deep talk. That doesn't include, I hope, the 10 minutes. Assalamu alaikum. Wa salamatin kulligin. One thing I really wanted to engage, this is about a youth. I'm not a youth, I'm 33-year-old, but I will claim that I'm so I have a good memory, hopefully, and I'm hoping my memory will serve me well in this. So I'm not comfortable with that thing. I think so if I talk too much, please. This is my experience. Personally, I mentioned it that my story started the first day in school, being bullied and my breakfast being stolen. And this is so important for me because it was an experience that was not right, that I did not have a capacity to understand it, that I did not have the strength to revolt against it, and I did not have the help to overcome it. And that was in the society was allowing at that time, you have a different platform or a way to express, to get your rights. And I didn't like that right. So I'll just move forward with that. The war happened in Somalia. I was on my teens, 14-year-old. And I needed a lot of explanation of why are we in this situation, what can we do, and how people dying and things that weren't right justly in a human mind, especially in a child's mind at that age. And I believe a lot of people here now are kind of going through that, but in a different stimuli, that disconnect, that identity, that mind that's very curious, and this heart that is so full of passion but doesn't know how to direct it. So it's really important to understand your own experiences and to find ways to use it to the best you can, regardless of how bad or good or unfair you see the situation. There is a deep responsibility that comes in at any age when you see something that is not right, how to make it work. So for me, it was in an imano, the first time in Egypt, Cairo. And one of the things that first offended me right after the airplane, the lights. I thought this was a waste of electricity. We didn't have this back home. How did they manage to have this? And I was so angry that some people were enjoying certain things while we have a brain, but weren't even trying to figure those simple things that can change our lives. So when I came into Egypt, I started going to school. I came across different writers, books, and I had a huge anger about the society, about the unfairness, about nobody taking a decision about my school, about things changing and being forced to deal with them in my own ways without really having a support or even a respect, as a matter of fact, because everybody's stressed out. If you ask a question, most people don't know how to answer it, and they don't even think it's appropriate to ask those questions. So I had to take matters on my own and slowly really try to understand what was going around me in Egypt, try to know what was the society about, get the books I can, knowing how did they have to manage to have this, that we didn't have it back home. What is it that they have that allow them to exercise this freedom, me walking on the streets. And then I want to go back actually one more time is in Somalia at my teenage time. One of the things I've noticed, I will be going to school, I had syphilis in my head, and somebody will steal it. Another incident, my mom was giving me money to eat something in school, and she's giving me the money, somebody came in from the window in the car and stole it. That was horrifying, really horrifying, and it angered me because I felt I was violated and it's not right. However, it was okay. Things that were normal in the society at that time, and people really didn't pay attention to it, and it didn't matter. But for me as a child, I thought it was wrong. It was absolutely wrong. And when I came into Egypt, that was the opposite. That will never happen. You will carry your purse, you're walking on the street, nobody steals, nobody comes in and touch your breast, and nobody says anything. In Somalia, when I was leaving, that was what happening, and people will see it as something that is behaviorally okay. I'm saying this because I want to put it in a way I understand what is the behavior as a human being that causes problem and prosperity in a relevant way, day in, day out. Every single person of us walking on the street or minding our own business, we are creating something. What is it that we're creating? And that's very important because later on, now when I come in here, all these stories, all the experiences that I had made sense to me, and I understood why certain societies succeeded and why others failed. Not because they were smarter, but because they had certain characters, values that they shared among them that helped them overcome. And unfortunately, for a very limited resource in education, in economics, these behaviors is why we're here, why half of our people, and actually everybody in our country is dying, and why a lot of people in international world don't care about us, because we don't even care about our own, of evaluating issues, of understanding, and individually creating opportunities for ourselves. 5 minutes OC, and that's really not enough because this is a 33-year quest of research, so I cannot even go through within 5 minutes, but I will try. So my next question, my next understanding or my experience being Gabar Somalia or just a normal family like every of you came in from. My parents weren't scholars. They weren't. They didn't have any specific, qualities that most families didn't have. They were just like every Somali. I was getting beaten up. I was getting, going to education. So just like any Somali person. But when I came into Cairo, I had a huge conflict with being a teen with my mother, because I liked museums, I liked history, I liked art. So I would goof around, go to museums, and I come back, and then the first thing that I will hear is, "Where were you?" And I will say, "I went to the museum." And here comes in, and I'm like, "I don't care about museum. Why are you going to the pyramids?" "I don't care about pyramids. I can't explain that." That's really important for me, to my mom. So one of my neighbors, Egyptian guy called Abdi Tawab, called me one night, and then he said, "Listen, you're the young, you're the educated, you should have a way to understand your mother." And that was the end of it. That was really the end of it, because he really helped me of some frustration that I couldn't make my mother understand. I said, "Hold on a second. I can come up with a way to deal with my mom, because I know she loves me. And I'm passionate about this quest of understanding history, art, music, everything in the society that it offers, because that's how I can change or understand things, why we didn't work, why it didn't work in our country, and why we're here." So that actually helped me a lot, and I was able to deal with my mom in that perspective. After that, I never had a conflict. We came in here in 1998. And I was struck again by the lights. The lights, there was a huge order, rule of law here that I haven't seen in Cairo. So that was another experience that I said, hold on a second. I thought Cairo was really doing good, but here's America that does it even better than any other society that I've seen. They have an extremely system that is so sophisticated, that is beyond anybody's measure, that gives you a chance that you come in from anywhere in the country, you walk in, all you have to do is apply yourself, understand it, why is it there, and then try to use it effectively. I wanted to work for the best companies there is to be. At that time, the ones that I knew about was IBM and Boeing. I started applying for jobs. When I came here, I had my BA, so I applied for my master's, and what I did is every year I started a job as a company called The Quest. It does computers. And I started very, very low. Really, I just wanted to get in, and I would go apply, talk with a lot of people, understand what skills needed for the job, what did I need to do to get where I wanted to go. I finally, in 2006, 2005, I get a job for a company that I wanted to work for, and then for IBM, which I really put in my mind to work for them. And I'm saying this because they don't know. I don't have to use my name. I apply online. The name Fardous, when John is reading Fardous, he doesn't know if it's a guy, if it's a girl, if it's Indian, if it's Chinese. Really, literally, they don't know it. They talk to you on the phone, maybe 2-3 times, and they ask you in person to come in. And when they saw me, the guys that were interviewing me physically on the 3rd interview, they were like, oh, probably we thought you were Indian, because most ladies that are in IT are Indians. So I say that specifically is that there is no excuse, regardless of background, how unfortunate you think you might be in, or how insignificant it is. The question, Marka, and all of you young people that you need to ask is, you do things for yourself. And if we are passionate about our country, first, you have to have what you want to fulfill in life, how to create a better opportunity for yourself. The second thing would be, you have nothing to offer to people if you can't do it for yourself, if you don't have anything to offer for yourself. So it's extremely important. And I cannot find any excuse, because we have been given a huge privilege called America. And this victim mentality is not going to get us anywhere. And what I know in my heart is that there is a young girl and a guy sitting right here, somewhere in here, or in Somalia, who has a tremendous thinking and creativity, but needs sense of a direction. And it's our individual responsibility to share, to be mindful, to not take any excuses that we've been hearing, because I like to see, one of my dreams is, when I walk in any city, I see foreigners. My dream as a person, as a Fardoso, it is walking in Somalia and being respected and being working and just functioning like this, but in my country. That is something I always kind of visually kind of think of it. That consumes a lot of my energy. And that can only be done when we have enough people who understand what that means. What does it mean for me as a person? It means that probably I will marry a really smart, nice Somali guy. Probably I will create a good opportunity for my kids where they would live in their country, know about my grandfather, he's the hero of my life, because he always used to say, you always take things in the middle. You always help people. You always be mindful. I don't want that history to be erased. I like to be respected as a human being, and I like to respect others. And that's why for each of us, as being young or old, or kids might be born in the future, it's a responsibility that we take, and that we say, we had great-grandparents who gave us a life, even if that's the least we can remember. We need to appreciate that, respect it, and make sure that we create some great opportunities for ourselves, and most importantly for the coming generation, because I want my sister to have a better life than I did, because my mom gave me a better life than she did. And I'm not going to take any rest until that is something that I see in the society. And that's what we owe it to ourselves, because Ilahi made us the best creatures in life. And it's no excuse to just go anything less than that. It's just no excuse. So this is emotional for me, so I can go really years and years of history and economics and anything. But I think all we need is just that really passion and a commitment that it's your job to find a route, and you can do it. It's really not a rocket science. You just have to understand your own experience and use it to your uniqueness and your environment to the best way you can. And you can do it. There's no reason why not. There isn't.
Yes.